What's up, everybody? Welcome to another video. Today I just want to talk a little bit about Spanish today and about just accents, how I came to study the accent that I'm studying, or if I'm studying an accent and all that stuff, and just troubles leading into that. So whenever I started studying Spanish, I was always under this assumption that I had to pick an accent, and I don't think that that's a bad thing necessarily. However, it started really affecting me because I would see something and I'd be like, "Ooh, that looks interesting. Oh man, that's from Colombia, and I'm trying to learn Mexican Spanish." Or, "Oh man, that's from Argentina, and I don't want it to affect my accent." And so that actually stalled a lot of my Spanish learning. And so what I finally did this last time was I said, you know what? I'm just going to go and watch stuff. That's what I'm going to do. And then if I travel to a country or something like that, then I will focus specifically on that accent. But for now, I just need to learn Spanish. That is the core goal. I asked some people, and that's what they were kind of saying, is that, it's not, like one guy said, it's not that I picked an accent as much as just I was learning Spanish, and then the people I interacted with were from Mexico or whatever the case may be. And so I was like, okay, cool. You know what? I'm just going to learn Spanish and just be happy with it. And that maybe that's not exactly what some people think is a good idea, but as you know, my goal this year is to just be a happy language learner, and having less to worry about has been fantastic. And so I started watching a couple things on Netflix, and lo and behold, I ended up enjoying them. But I watched a couple of movies, like In Family I Trust, which had an actress named Clara Lago in it, which I really, really liked in that. And so, funny enough, I started watching a TV show after, El Vecino, because it looked very interesting. I didn't care where it was from. It was Spanish. I just wanted to see it. It looked like an amazing show. She was in that as well. And I was like, okay. Well, anyway, all this stuff is from Spain. It's from Europe. And so I guess I'm learning European Spanish currently, technically. And it's not that I've picked that accent as much as just the current content that I'm watching is from there. I'm watching a show called Valeria right now. Again, it's from Spain. And it has nothing to do with me seeking out content from Spain as much as I was browsing through Netflix and I was like, this show looks okay, so I'm going to give it a shot. And that's the same thing that happened with movies as well. El Hoyo, The Platform, same thing. It was from Spain. Didn't necessarily mean to. It just looked interesting, so I watched it. The other thing is in a weird way, even though Spain is not where the primary number of Spanish speakers live, Mexico, I think, has the highest number of Spanish speakers. It's like 220 million or something like that. So much content is produced in Spain, like so much. There's actually a podcast that I listen to called Habla Español, where it teaches you Spanish, but it teaches you in Spanish, which I'm actually going to make another video about, kind of where my Spanish is at. And then you can see that. And I'm going to make a video about my Japanese as well. But it's also from Spain. And so it's almost like by default, I have chosen to learn European Spanish. And it's not that that's what I'm choosing as much as just it's what now I know that words are different and things like that. But I think in my heart of hearts, I believe that the difference in Spanish is probably like that of English, right? Like if you know American English, you can still make it in the UK. Like there's a couple of different words that they may use here or there, but you should be okay. And I know in Spanish, I know there's a couple of examples of like words that are very common in Spain being incredibly vulgar in Mexico. So you just kind of watch out for that stuff and go on. Like I said, if I travel to a country, I will absolutely drop what I'm doing, go specifically, if I know in advance, let's say I know that in June I'm going to Mexico or something, then sure, like maybe a couple of months before then, I will really focus on that. I'll really focus on Mexican Spanish. But right now, I'm still so new to Spanish, even though there's a lot I understand. On Link, I've got almost 3,500 words known, which people go back and forth. I'll get more into that in my video about where I'm at in Spanish. But I still have a lot of Spanish to learn, right? And so I think that just learning words just in bulk, especially by reading or whatever the case may be, I think is still good just to get Spanish in me, and then I can start to acclimate towards the accent. So, and right now I'm enjoying the content, and that is the most important part right now, is being able to find stuff that I love, watch it, and enjoy it. That way it's not study, it's more so enjoying the content of the language. Now, why did I not want to learn European Spanish? Well, first and foremost, as an American, Mexican Spanish is what not we all, I guess I'm generalizing America, but that's what most people think of when they think of Spanish here in America, is Mexico. Just like I'm sure a lot of people in Europe, if you're in Great Britain, Portugal, France, Germany, you probably associate Spanish with Spain because it's closer to you. And here in America, Mexico is close. Like, obviously there's other countries that speak it, but when you're talking about Argentina, Chile, Peru, any of that stuff, they're all so far south. Mexico is bordering the United States. And so I was like, well, that makes the most sense. That would probably be the easiest place I could travel to, and we'll kind of go from there. So I just default picked Mexican Spanish. Also, I have 2 friends that speak Spanish very, very well, and both of them speak Mexican Spanish, so it is what it is. But then also I think that with learning Spanish, even if I'm listening to stuff from Spain or whatever, again, getting the language into me, I can still chat with them and maybe fine-tune my accent that way. Actually, 3 friends that I know, now that I think about it. But the reason that I didn't want to learn European Spanish, and this is so stupid, but I think this is why a lot of people don't want to learn European Spanish specifically, is because of vosotros, and that's just an additional thing that you have to learn. But what I have found in my studies and watching stuff and things like that, from where I already have a grasp on verb conjugations, not like conditional and all that crazy stuff, but like in terms of present continuous, past, I know the 2 different pasts. I know the future tense, but then I also know the more so common, like using ir to conjugate to say you're going to do something. So I know that stuff. So the basic verb conjugation I've got down. Well, the vosotros ones don't confuse me because it's like I can semi-recognize the patterns just because of knowing those other verb conjugations and seeing them. Like, I've never been reading something and seen vosotros, even if they use os or vos or any of that stuff, or then just a verb conjugated to vosotros, it's never been like, oh God, what does that mean? Now, I'm sure that as I get into irregular verbs, then yes, that's going to be an issue, but for the time being, I don't need to worry about that. Irregular verbs, I've just kind of let go of the concept of that, of, man, this is going to be hard, I'm never going to do it, and just, I'll address it when I get to them. When I see them, I'll try to learn them from what they are. And most of the time, context, you can kind of figure out like, oh, that's how you conjugate that. So, but I didn't want to learn European Spanish because I did not want to have to go through the extra undertaking of learning an additional verb conjugation when I already had to learn 9,000 verb conjugations for the same word anyway. But if you really break that down, that's kind of a dumb thought. I'm talking about myself specifically. I'm not saying that you guys are dumb or anything like that, but it's kind of a dumb thought when you think about it, because if you're learning 70 some odd conjugations anyway, if you add one more to the, 17 different moods that Spanish has, it's not that much more in the grand scheme of things. So, and again, just learn them as you come across them versus just memorizing stuff. But of course, if you just memorize the actual conjugation for, the regular verbs and then just address the irregulars as you go about it. So, but that is why I didn't want to learn European Spanish. So that is, anyway, I just wanted to talk about that for a little bit. Why I'm learning quote unquote European Spanish. I know that that's what the video is called. And you might think that's a little bit of a mislead. Like, it's not that I'm specifically learning that as much as just that's where the content I'm watching right now comes from, and I love it. And why I didn't want to learn it, but here we are. So sometimes it's almost like the accent chooses you. You don't choose the accent. But also sometimes I think the language chooses you and you don't choose the language. So it's really, really weird. I had a conversation with somebody about that. Maybe I'll go into that too. But anyway, I'm going to leave this video here. That is all I wanted to say for today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you all in the next video.